Hey everyone, it's Dylan here, and this week for our video we want to show you our most popular species of wood that we build our tables and furniture out of. So primarily in our business, most of you know that we do a lot of dining tables. Of course the CNC starts right now, but we do a lot of dining tables, we do doors, and we're just starting to get into a lot of different kinds of furniture, like we want to start doing chairs and cabinets. But in our store we have over 100 different species of wood, and there's some we like using for some things more than others, so I want to kind of show you around at what we have, and then I'll take you guys in the shop and show you why we like working on them. Starting kind of on the left side here, there's a couple pieces of ash. We don't do too many tables with that, but we do use ash a lot in our doors, so I'll show you the door stock in a bit. This is willow. We haven't done a table with this yet, but this is some pretty new material, so we've been wanting to do one. Willow's it's a little bit softer, so that's one reason why people might kind of shy away from it, just because it scratches and damages a lot easier. Here, and basically the rest of everything is walnut, but there is two different kinds of walnut. These slabs here are black walnut. I don't know if I can kind of pull one out. So it's got sort of more of a cooler gray color, or a cooler brown, sorry, with like grays in it sometimes. Not quite as red. And then the other kind of walnut that we have is just over here. You can kind of just see the edge of it. This is Claro walnut, and I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit more red. And I'll show you some tables in the back that we have that are Claro. But the Claro does have more sort of rich colors to it. These slabs here, these are some Mappa burl. So we've done a few dining tables. We actually did, that we'll probably be posting a small video on soon, a table for Salehi Bembury. He came in and he picked out all his stuff, and we did a Mappa burl dining table for him. So that's the Mappa there. This is a big Perota cookie. You can see this one's like almost 6 foot round. This actually comes from Costa Rica. I believe they also call it Spanish walnut. Really similar color to walnut when it's all finished and stained up. One thing about the Perota though, it does have like a really kind of spicy smell to it when you're working with it, so you definitely want to wear a dust mask with this stuff. These here, these are a few pieces of oak. So we don't get as much live edge oak just because we don't get the opportunity to buy it as much. But it's really good for building tables just because it's so hard, it's stable, and it just makes a really good wood for furniture that way. Now this is a giant log of Canadian black walnut. So this particular log was actually salvaged from the urban Toronto area. And that goes with most of our walnut. None of it's really cut out of a forest. It's all salvage material. And you can see that we have the whole tree. So obviously this is starting to the outside, it gets closer into the middle, and the further you go down, the bigger they get. You can see that these slabs as well, they still have all the bark on them. So before we even work on it, we'll actually peel all of the bark off so that we can get a better bond on that live edge. And then we even end up recycling the bark for things like coasters. You saw our spears we did. So it's just really good that we can use every single part of the tree by buying it like this. Now with walnut over there being our most popular wood that we use, our second most popular is probably the Canadian quilted maple. So we were fortunate enough, about 2 or 3 years ago, we were able to purchase a whole salvage tree of this stuff. It actually was found laying in a ditch covered in water. So the guy we knew, he pulled it out with his truck, tied a chain around it, pulled it out, he sawed it up, and then a lot of this material has actually just been air drying. Some of it we finished off in the kiln, but it has very intense figuring, so you can see all these spikes. This is a sign that you're gonna have nice burl in there. And then you can also see on some of the other slabs a little farther down, you get this like almost quilted ripply pattern on the edge. That's what kind of gives you that 3D look in the grain. And before the end of this video, we'll take you guys into the showroom to show you a finished piece, and I'll show you what that quilted grain looks like. It's actually one of my personal favorites, is the quilted maple. Here we actually have two different kinds of walnut, but it's actually, one of them is a different kind of walnut that I didn't mention. This is Bastogne walnut. So what Bastogne walnut is, it is a hybrid cross between English walnut and black walnut that occurs from the grafted trees that are man-made. So what we do in our walnut orchards is, like what humans do, is they go and plant the Claro walnut in the roots, and then as that grows big, they graft on an English walnut tree on top, and then you have this hybrid tree that's man-made. Well, in the spring, those hybrid trees produce spores, and you'll actually get a cross that occurs from a sapling. So it wasn't grafted, it's just kind of a natural cross. So that's the Bastogne walnut there. On the CNC machine here, Dennis is flattening up some black walnut. So this is more walnut kind of out from the Toronto or Ontario area. These pieces are actually going to get used for a big 15-foot conference table that we have coming up. So that one's going up to Edmonton. It's for a high-profile gaming company. That's about all I could say for this one, though. This is Clara walnut, but it's a little bit different cut. This is actually what they call a cookie. So if you ever hear someone refer to a cookie, that's a round cut slab instead of a slab that was cut lengthways with the tree. So it has live edge all the way around. And this particular piece is actually going to be a table for Zed. You guys may know him. He's a DJ and producer, and he has his home down in California that we're going to be building this custom coffee table for. And Haley and I might actually be going down to deliver this one, so that's going to be a really cool video that will be coming up soon, is delivering Zed's table. So here's more maple, but this is not a table. This is actually one of our solid wood doors. So we don't use the quilted maple on this, we just use regular Eastern soft maple, and it works really good for the solid wood doors because it has great stability characteristics. It's not really that prone to warping. In the exterior environments that we put these doors in, it just holds up better than some other species. Some species are just very susceptible to movement with seasonal moisture changes, whereas the maple isn't so much. So this is one solid door here. We've got another door over here. You can see same thing. I think the guys are just putting all the final details on. And then this is the jamb. So every component of this door is made from that same solid maple. So it's one of our personal favorites for building doors. Now we're upstairs here in the finishing area, and we'll show you some of the actual finished products that we've made from a lot of this wood here. So starting here, this is actually going to be a solid walnut desk. It's one single slab of black walnut in the middle, and then we've actually just used clear epoxy on the edges, so you can see you get really good detail in the live edge with the clear epoxy there. So that's black walnut. Over here, here's Mappa Burl. So, and of course now the compressor comes on. But the table that I talked about earlier that we did for Salehi, this is the same species here. So Mappa Burl, you can see, has a lot of imperfections and inclusions, but it allows for a lot of really nice resin fills in there. So that's what we did. We've just filled everything up with just a black epoxy, and then this is going to be used for a sliding barn door. And then this here, this is a piece of Clara walnut. This is actually Zed's wall art piece that we're making for him. So I'll bring it down. But it is a piece of Clara walnut burl. So you can see it's got lots of really nice character in the wood, tons of different colors. And then we've actually just paired it with this kind of like teal green epoxy. This is going to be going with his coffee table we're doing for him. So same species of wood. We've got a few more black walnut ones I'm going to show you here. There's one that I really wanted to show you guys, but it actually shipped out last week. That was for Fernando Labise. He's the manager of Guns N' Roses right now. So he purchased this really nice black walnut slab. Haley's going to put a picture up on the screen for you guys to see. That one was just, I thought it was really nice. The wood was so cool in that. Here's another black walnut one, same species as the one for Fernando. I think it's got, yeah, it feels like it's got a fresh coat of oil on it. And this is a resin cast as well, so there's smoky gray on the outside. Here's kind of the opposite of that. This is also black walnut, except it is a resin river. So it's got the smoky gray going down the middle. And this slab was pretty neat because it had a lot of natural bug decay, so there's just lots of character going throughout the whole thing. Before the whole kind of epoxy trend started, people would see a slab like this and they wouldn't want to use it because of all the imperfections, but now people really want that almost more because it's now a feature. Here's another Bastogne walnut piece that I mentioned. So this is that kind of naturally occurring cross between the two species. This one we're just waiting on legs. It's going to be shipping out probably this week or next week. But it's got something really unique to it called curly figure. So that's where you see this kind of 3D appearance to the wood grain going the whole way. That kind of is a rare mutation that only happens in a small percentage of trees. So now we're back in the office slash showroom. And I'll show you a few of our finished pieces that we've actually done with these slabs. So This one here, this is a finished piece of the Canadian quilted maple, the West Coast stuff. And this is that 3D grain I was talking about. You can see it on the live edge, and then you can see it in the wood grain where everything's just kind of bubbly and quilted. So that, again, like I mentioned, is one of my personal favorites to work with. Here at the desk, this is black walnut right here. So just the regular Canadian black walnut that we use. To my left, we have another piece. I mentioned earlier about that when they plant the Clare walnut in the root and then they graft on the English walnut. Well, here's a piece that has the graft line. So this side here, that's the Clare walnut. Here's our graft line, and that's the English walnut there. So that is because, like I said, the Clare walnut grows quick, gets to a big size, but the English walnut produces the kind of walnuts they want. This here, this is a piece of Clare walnut again. You can see here's some of those colors that you don't really get in the black walnut. So once you get more of those oranges, and then there's some red in here, that's kind of specific to the Clare walnut. Behind Haley there, here's actually one with black walnut. So this is a little different, just straight edge black walnut that we've kind of cut into a shape. You can watch our video on making this one as well. We'll put a little annotation on here for you guys to see how we made that. More Clare walnut in here. Here's another slab of it. Pretty similar to the other ones, but you can really see the red color in this slab here and a lot of that rich grain that it has when compared to the black walnut. And here's Haley's desk. This is the maple, so this is kind of curly maple that it has. I hope you guys enjoyed the video this week. Again, we just kind of wanted to show you the most popular species of wood that we work with, tell you a little bit of cool, interesting facts about them that you might not have known. And if you guys have any other questions about specific species of wood or the ones we talked about here, leave it in the comments below. We'll do our best to answer it. And let us know if you want to see us do a video like this again, or if you have any kind of specific ideas for videos in the future. Remember to subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Subscribe.